Welcome to another live stream of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Dave.
We're here to do another episode. We have Tim, TC, or Microwave Tim, joining us a bit later on to do the classic album. But as always, got a lot to get through, a bit less than usual, but we're going to try and get through as much as we can. We're going to talk about the latest albums from James LaBrie and Aussie act Flickertail. Going to go back to a classic from Faith No More with TC later on. Going to talk about new singles from Stryper, Queensryche, The Black Skeleton, and Ocean Sleeper. We're going to discuss, whether or not bands should live stream shows more. We'll also do a Would You Rather on Joe Satriani or Steve Vai as a lead guitarist in your band. What else? All the usual shit that goes into it as well. But make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all the usual things everyone gets you to do. Everything you need to know. Details for us. Also links to find, what we're talking about music-wise, see the little sample track and everything. All those links are in the description box, so make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and follow the links in there. We'll also share them in the comments as we go through things. And a big thank you, as always, to our fantastic sponsors in Squidding, Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, like ours, are in the description box, so make sure you give them a like or a follow, something like that, just to help them out as well. It's greatly appreciated by us here. Yeah, a bit to get through, as always. Got some people jumping into the comments to say hi, which is awesome. So good to see you again, Rowan, as always. Good to see her on YouTube. Same with Nicole. She's joined us again. Hopefully keeping dry up north. At least it's not as wet for you this time around. And Terry on Facebook saying, hi, guys. Good to see you as well. So jump in the comments. Say hi to us wherever you're watching from, and we'll see if we can. And if you've got any questions or suggestions or thoughts, whatever else, then feel free to share. And we tend to pull up most comments on the screen as we go through.
Darren, or challenges.
What was that, mate?
Or dares or challenges. That's for hell. That's what we're here for.
Considering your quip on Facebook today about OnlyFans, you're asking for trouble. So
there's a lot of concerts I want to go to. I need the money. I'm such a whore.
Oh, wow. We got Darren saying hey to us on YouTube. Good to see you again, buddy, as well. Nicole's going, not wet, but 11 degrees is pushing my limits. You're funny considering it sounded like 2 degrees here at the moment. So there you go. It's funny because one of our kids' friends lives up in Townsville, and she was complaining it was 11 degrees the other day. She had the heating on. She's like, it's cold. And I'm like, it's 2 degrees in the morning when we drive to work here. It's like, that ain't cold up there. It's perspective.
11 degrees is a heat wave.
Yeah. Well, here we go. What do we got? So Rowan's gone. Bunch of my favorite 90s acts tonight. Queensryche, LaBrie, Faith No More, Vi and Satch. Yeah, we're getting through a few older ones, but some new stuff here tonight. Sally's joined us saying, hey, guys, good to see you again, Sally. Hopefully you're keeping well too. And Nicole's gone, it's always 0 below at night. That happens as well. All righty. How are you going, Dave? Let's do the rounds. How's your week going?
Yeah, I'm good. My first week back at work, and it's been one of those weeks where it's been exceptionally busy, and I've achieved fuck all. Hence not being fully prepared for everything we had originally planned for tonight. For that, I apologize to everyone. Fucked up. Apart from that, kids are still on school holidays, so making the most of the time I have at home when I'm not working. And Saturday, we hit the shops when we were getting ready. Picture this. Rory's in his room, Jade's in her room, getting ready. And Julia says to him, we're going to stop by one of Daddy's favorite shops. And completely at the same time, without looking at each other, the bottle shop. I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
I think that's hilarious.
It is. Like not JB Hi-Fi, not Bunnings, the bottle shop. So, yeah, it was JB Hi-Fi, by the way. It wasn't the bottle shop.
I was about to say,
went to JB Hi-Fi, and Jade got herself Off the Wall, the Michael Jackson album.
Nice.
The special edition CD version of that. It comes with some chalk, so you can draw on it, and the documentary. Her first music documentary, so she just fixated to the TV watching that. Then she put on the headphones and gave the album a deep listen. So I'm so proud.
Yeah.
She's got quite a cool collection of CDs now. It's got everything from Bowie, the AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Michael Jackson, a few others. Encanto. She's still a child. She's cool.
And that's pretty popular too with the kids, so that's easy.
It is.
And
get over those songs too, but well,
could be back. Origin again.
I'm sure there's a third one. Anyway, how you doing, man? Enough talk about Disney.
Yeah, all good. Surprisingly, today is the first day off I've had in a while because we've just had supply chain issues, believe it or not, with the day job. So I actually had a bit of a breathing space the first time in just a day to sort of, take a bit of a breath and just recharge the batteries a little bit. But around that, it's just flat out as always. Still working. and then just on top of that, doing all the stuff for TV and for preparing for this one. So yeah, just everything's the same. Nothing really to report. I don't do a lot. I'm busy all the time. There's nothing much exciting to talk about because we don't do much. We're just always working.
Have you seen Stranger Things yet?
Yes, I did watch. I did finally. I was sort of able to sit there and go through like half hour a night kind of thing before I go to bed. I would just set myself a target of like half hour a night to go through it. That Master Puppets thing is fucking cool.
That's awesome. That's so well done. The cross-cutting, the fucking amazing job with that. But that episode I put on 11 o'clock at night. It's like, I'll just watch half. It goes for 2.5 hours. I'm just going to watch half. I got to go to sleep. I got work the next day. Fuck, so I can find a place to stop it. It's just like 5 more minutes. I'm like, nah, fuck it. I'm watching the whole thing. I don't care. That's a good episode.
It's a good show. I do enjoy it a lot. Well, I do want to do a hot topic next week on what song would you play if you had needed to do it to save the world kind of thing. So that'll be something to think about in advance for next week.
Oh man,
that'll be fun. But yeah, that was I like that show. It's got that whole 80s thing going for it too, which is obviously perfect for us. But
yeah.
But I think it's a great show. Well acted, well written, all those sorts of things. And yeah, I think it's one of those. I don't sit down and watch a lot. I try and get through some stuff here and there to sort of take a mental break from things. But yeah, that was one I did manage to get through in the end. And then I think I sat down on the weekend, like Sunday night, and went, fuck it, more or less same thing as I finished. I think bang on midnight was when I finished watching it, or just after on Sunday night to conclude the season.
Yeah.
We're going to wait, until 2024 for the next season, which is like, fuck.
Yeah, 2 more years. There's talk it's going to be the last one as well. They don't want to drag it out longer than needed. Yeah.
No, it'll be good. And there's apparently like spin-off stuff in the works now and all sorts of things. They've signed a new production company kind of thing, which would be nice. So hopefully more of the same sort of feel and vibe of stuff coming in the future from that show. So that's cool. So if you're a fan, Stranger Things is good. What do you enjoy?
Some good young actors too. The young cast. They've grown up a lot in the last 6 years, but they're already like the main kid, Mike. Yeah, he's in Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to sit down and watch that one.
Pretty good. It's nothing you haven't seen before, but it's good nostalgia.
Well, that's what all those things are at the end of the day. But it's a good bit of fun. And yeah, I enjoyed. I liked Stranger Things from the start. So it was good to sort of sit down and go, okay, cool. It's good to see we're getting somewhat like Rowan here is saying that I finished watching it at 6 a.m. the night morning it was released. So there you go. That's dedication. Can't do that. I've got to be up and getting ready for work at that point in time. But also, Belle's joined us. Good to see you, Belle. Hi, guys. Another week with singles that make me feel like I'm in high school again. Loving it. Yes, there we go. We are getting right back into some vintage acts tonight. It's a bit of an old meets new kind of world today, especially, I think, everything across the board. It's going to be an interesting episode tonight. We'll see how we go. Yeah, but I guess, we both enjoy Stranger Things, and hopefully it looks like a lot of people out there have as well. But yeah, there's a lot of chatter going online with the Metallica scene. That was fucking epic. That was really well done. So, if nothing else, it's worth watching that 2 minutes alone.
Yeah, that part's on YouTube if you just want to see what everyone's talking about.
I think even Metallica and that have shared it. Like, it's been shared all over the joint. So, yeah, if you want to just see the part we're talking about, just go search Metallica socials. I'm pretty sure it's all over that with the appearance of Master of Puppets in the Did you see that someone worked out that it was released in this sort of time frame that he would have had like
took him about 2 weeks to learn it by ear because there's no tabs.
no internet, no nothing at that point in time. That's pretty clever.
Well, to be fair, considering the quality of some tab books in the 80s, you probably did a better job learning it by ear.
Mm-hmm. And any musician worth their salt back at that point in time was learning a lot of things by ear anyway. So not an impossible task. Just a bit of fun. But yeah, it's funny how much people have deep dive into the detail. It's like, fuck.
I know, just enjoy it.
Yeah, just have some fun with it. David's here. Good to see you, buddy. G'day, guys. Rock on. All the best. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're keeping well out there too. All right, let's do a couple of gig plugs. Actually, before we do, a bit of random news today. Manny Charlton, original guitarist of Nazareth, passed away today. I found this because, Dave, you saw that Nights with Alice Cooper post or something about condolences to his family. And so
it's a bit vague, and everyone's like, oh shit, Alice Cooper died.
Like, I think it's one of those things I think it's one of those things where someone, an admin or whatever, created a post but forgot to share the relevant link or article with it kind of thing to have, so I'd lost all context. But through digging through that, Turns out that Manny Charlton, like I was saying, the original guitarist of Nazareth, passed away. Not sure of any particular details or anything. It's relatively new as we do this one. But just as with all these things, it's always a sad time. So condolences to his family, friends, those that loved and knew him, his bandmates, and all sort of stuff as well. It was confirmed by the bass player. I think the only original member of the band remaining was he confirmed it at some point today. So there we go. That's just a bit of random news. So for the Nazareth fans out there, make sure you crank a few songs of theirs to enjoy yourself with that one in memoriam of that, as we always suggest. What do we got here? Back onto the guitar stuff for a second. Rowan's gone, I used to own the guitar he played in Metallica scene, the BC Rich Warlock. Mine was embarrassingly bright yellow, though. Well, there you go.
Nice. Nothing embarrassing about that. Much.
I want to see your bright yellow guitar, Dave.
Nah, black and black and black. That's it.
It's like the old Aerosport ad, got any blacker. Anyway, alrighty, couple of gig plugs. Let's do this one quickly. Gonna copy this one and paste it into the comments. It's in the description box if you missed it in the comments. But this is the first one. These are both for tomorrow night, so Friday as we do this one. So anyone watching or listening later on, it's going to be out of context for you guys. For those watching us on the live stream, this is Filthy Friday Fest of Fury at the Tote. That's the event name. So Filthy Friday Fest of Fury at the Tote. I feel like I'm back in in primary school doing.
You got to get a fist in there somewhere.
Yeah. This isn't Cannonball, Dave. That was last week. Now, so just as a blurb for this one, Friday the 8th will be a full-on fun-packed festival full of ferocious, fanatical folks fanning out furious, fucked-up fanfares in the Filthy Friday Fest of Fury at the Tote. I wish there was an F in the Tote, which is from the direct description there. So I'm not repeating that. It's Friday the 8th. So tomorrow night at the Tote. It's $15 at the door, $10 pre-sale. The lineup is Distortion at 8:30, Bong Cleaner. Sorry if I read my own fucking typing. Bong Cleaner at 9:20. Hand of Fear at 10:10. Rautism, who we know and love. So Keith, if you're watching, here's a shout out for you. Rautism are playing at 11 o'clock, and then Cunt Squad, another great band that we know and love here at the show, at 11:50. So there we go. That's your lineup. So it's at the Tote tomorrow night, Friday night. It's the Filthy Friday Festive Fury at the Tote. Friday night, Friday the 8th of July. I can't believe it's July. $15 at the door. Distortion, Bong Cleaner, Hand of Fear, Rautism, and Cunt Squad are all playing. First band kicks off 8:30 p.m. So that's your first gig to check out there. And the next
Hand
one,
of Fear and Cunt Squad, and I can't get a fisting into the title of the gig.
You got a point. You have a point. I will pay that one. Yes. Fucking hell. Of course, you have to go down this path like 10 minutes in. What do we got here? Sorry, back on to Manny for a second here. Nicole's gone, may rest in peace, and hopefully Carlos Santana recovers from whatever happened. Yeah, that was another one too. Yeah. Carlos apparently collapsed on stage in the middle of playing. That was bizarre. Hopefully, like you were saying, hopefully he recovers quickly and easily as well. Dog's losing his mind in the yard. All right, next gig is Midnight Alibi, The Dreadful Tides, and Lucid Oggs at Whole Lot of Love. So this is a good one. Another one tomorrow night. It's a smaller venue, Whole Lot of Love, but we have a lot of love for the venue because we used to go there every month and do some live shows. So yeah, check it out. So it's Midnight Alibi, The Dreadful Tides, and Lucid Oggs at Whole Lot of Love. This is gig number 3 of 11 as part of the 11 gigs for 11 years of Whole Lot of Love celebrations. Australian rock band Midnight Alibi returned home from rocking the Sunset Strip in LA. Then the world stopped due to COVID-19 pandemic. What happened next? The band came straight out of lockdown, went to the studio to record their second album release called Higher Power. Fresh off a residency at Cherry Bar, they're ready to join Whole Lot of Love's birthday shenanigans and rock it like never before. Hard rockers, The Dreadful Tides, and newcomers Lucid Oggs will be joining them on the night. Tickets are $12 plus booking fee pre-sale or $15 at the door. There are some still available if you're getting quick. Doors at 7:30 p.m. There we go. It's another cracking lineup there. The Dreadful Tides, Midnight Alibi, both fantastic bands, and they've been joined by a new band. Get around it. Have some fun at Whole Lot of Love if you're in that neck of the woods. And just for you, Dave, Nicole's given the face palm. So let's into your obsession with fists in the last 5 minutes. So, rightio. Before we get stuck into things, let's talk about the releases that are due out tomorrow. Interesting list this week. So we've got Oh, here we go. Back on to Carlos Santana here. They're saying, Darren's saying, they were saying he was massively dehydrated. Well, hopefully that's all it was. And lessons are learned, quote unquote, I guess. It's just, make sure you're looking after yourself out there. It's madness. The last thing you want to do is, get out of the pandemic and start playing shows, and then shit like that goes wrong. It's just look after yourselves out there, people. All right, well, hopefully that does get better quickly. But tomorrow, coming up, we've got Arda's Anatomy of a Moment. Then you got Begrime Extremis, Rotting in the Aftermath, Beth Blade and the Beautiful Disasters with Mythos, Confession, Tragedies, and Love. You got Black Nazareth, self-titled, Blind Channel Lifestyles of the Sick and Dangerous, Bullet for My Valentine with a deluxe edition of their self-titled album. You also got Clean Break with Coming Home, Crossing Rubicon with Perfect Storm, Dio Holy Diver Super Deluxe Edition, which is actually kind of fitting considering the stuff with because the actual jacket was one of Dio's actual jackets, I think, in Stranger Things. Back on that one for a second there. Also got Frail releasing Skin and Sorrow, Hail Mary releasing Disturbing the Peace, The Machinist All Is Not Well, Opponent with Sentinel, Organectomy with Nail Below Nail, then Powerwolf, The Monumental Mass, a cinematic metal event. That'd be an interesting one. Then you got a band called Telekinetic Yeti releasing Primordial, and then you got Vomit Forth with Seething Malevolence. That is what's coming out tomorrow. Is anything on that one sort of grabbing your attention there, Dave? It's a bit of an interesting...
Hail Mary, that's the Australian band?
No, different one.
No, Hail Mary. Yeah. Okay, don't know them then. Powerwolf, definitely, they'll be good. The issue with Dio, that'd be interesting to give a listen. And the extended Bullet for My Valentine, because I'm not a massive fan of them, but that album I did like, so I'm interested to hear what else they put in it. So, those three would be probably pretty good. A lot of those bands I don't recognize at all.
Black Nazareth was one that was sent through from the label, which is Wormhole Death. So I'm curious about that one. But around that one, the one that gets my attention most is probably Powerwolf, because just having a cinematic metal event, I like that kind of stuff. I'm very curious about that in particular. So it actually dovetails nicely into our little hot topic in a second too. But that, just having things like that's a cinematic, like Rammstein did it with the Paris show a few years ago, and that was fantastic. So if there's anything like that, I'm keen to check out things like that, a bit more of that. Around that one, like you were saying, Bullet for My Valentine, that's not a bad one too. There's a bit there. Also Dio, why not? I mean, a super deluxe edition. I'm curious to see what they're going to add to it. But who knows? I don't know how many issues that has had over the years. But there we go. That's what's coming out. Sorry?
Be a few, I reckon.
Yeah, there would definitely be a few. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that over the next few days. Let us know out there what you're keen to check out this week. Otherwise, we'll start moving along into the singles, and this is going to be starting off with some fun here, Dave. I know we have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this particular band, but let's go with this one. This is the latest from Stryper with their new single, Rise to the Call. Link is in the comments. It's also in the description box, so go and check that out while we have a little bit of chat about it. Stryper, Rise to the Call. This is the first single from the upcoming album, which is due October or November later this year. Not a lot of information about it yet. They're just sort of starting the promo cycle on it now. But Dave, how did you go?
Yeah, it's not bad. I had a thought when I just read the title while preparing this, Rise to the Call. I had a thought, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to be a horrible person. Now, moving on.
I can know. Oh, okay. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm not a massive fan of Stryper. We did that Wasp versus Stryper. I heard a lot of their albums. I really struggled with the lyrics. As they get older, in recent years, they've done a lot better than their previous stuff. A lot of previous stuff I hate. A lot of the newer stuff is pretty good. And this is pretty good. The sounds a lot like Stryper, what you expect from the band. And if you like heavy metal, you'll probably like this. Lots of energy, and the vocals are really impressive, especially that scream at the end. That's just really high note. And he's not a young man anymore, so he can still taking care of his voice. I suppose when you're a Christian, you don't fuck around with your health too much, so he maintains your...
Something like beg to differ, but with that band.
That's true. But he did that album a year or two ago with Tracy Guns. Yes. That was really good. I'd like to hear more of that and less of Stryper. With Stryper, it's pretty good. Lyrics are all right. Heavy metal done well. It's not groundbreaking or the Second Coming. You're not going to raise Jesus if you play it backwards, but listening to it forwards, you'll enjoy it. Amen.
Well done, Dave. You actually got through that better than I thought you would, to be honest.
Changing my ways.
You can go look our previous content up in this regard. You'll see what we're talking about when it comes to the things we've done in the past. I really enjoyed the riff and the double kick energy on this track. That was really cool. Right from the start, you just fucking bang, you're into it. I think Michael Sweet still sounds fantastic. Like you were saying, he's nailing the high notes. He's not a young kid anymore. I think he's 60 plus from memory.
I reckon.
I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think he's around.
Close to it if he's not.
Sorry?
He'd be close to 60 if he's not past it.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I knew it a while ago, but yeah, not anymore. But no, this is a really good, solid song. It sounds like, you know, a melodic metal song that's really done well. Lyrically, they do what they do. You're either going to, you know, be able to get past it or not, take your pick. But I thought that they did it well. The story was well crafted, all those kind of things. It's interesting they've got a song about unity at the moment, which is what the message is mostly about. With everything going on, we could probably use more of those things than less. Yeah, that mid-song breakdown where that wail and the twin sort of the one solo and the other solo right after each other, that was a really nice touch on this song too. It's follows on from the last couple of albums from these guys, really nice. The last 3 albums have been pretty good. Last one or the one before in particular was really heavy. This one isn't as heavy as back then, but this is still really solid, chunky, heavy sort of metal song. If you like melodic metal, get onto this one. Yeah, I think it's really, really cool. A good single actually as well, because it's one of those ones that, you know, managed to stay in your head and yeah, just shows off the talent of the band. So you can say what you like, but there's a fuckload of talent in that outfit. So yeah, another good song from these guys. They don't, you know, just from pure talent, they'll never disappoint you in that regard. So I enjoy them very, very much. Here we got some comments actually here. Got 59. Okay, Nicole, David, thank you for the update there. Both of them said he's 59. So thank you for clarifying that for us. Weren't far off. Either way, fuck, he's still sounding good. But Nicole also said, I love this band except the lyrics. Their musicianship is awesome, and that's the thing you cannot deny with this band. Yeah. David also said, probably the best thing they've done in a while. Okay, cool. You're not a huge fan of the last few albums, Dave? I'm curious, David. Just let us know what you thought of the last few albums. Yeah, I thought it was cool. Darren says, regardless of the lyrics, these guys rock. Where you have the dark, you need some light. And that's a fair enough point of view as well. I know there's a lot of fans for this band. And for me, I grew up in a religious household, so it's easy for me just to you know, deal with it. However, I don't really think about it too much. It's not that I subscribe or anything like that. It's just I just don't even think about it. But if you do think about it, I try to think about it in terms of things like you get all these other metal artists that can sing about whatever, you know, or reference whatever gods, demons, whatever else they want. I just treat it in the same vein as that personally. So if you can do that and just listen to the music, then I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. They are a very impressive outfit. Alrighty. From there, we're going to keep going with the impressive sort of bands coming back from yesteryear and releasing new music this year. The next one up is Queensryche. Their new single, In Extremis. So it's in the comments now. It's in the description box. Band is Queensryche. Song is In Extremis. Sorry. And this is the first single from the upcoming album called Digital Noise Alliance, which is due on October 7. So get ready for that one, people. It's coming up just before Halloween. Dave, how'd you go?
Yeah, this is cool. I haven't heard much new Queensryche with their new singer, but I like this. You know, it's old school metal done well.
Yeah,
melodic and heavy sounds good. I've heard a few comparisons to Iron Maiden, and I get that. You can hear a little bit along those lines, but still, you know, it's the style of metal. So if you like that, you're going to like this. Lyrics were pretty good, and the overall song was good to listen to. Really like the guitar solo on this one.
Yeah.
The song only goes for 4 minutes and 41 seconds, but that solo is not rushed. It's kind of it builds slowly, and it's not overplayed, and it took its time to develop. Well, that was really cool. But yeah, old school metal vocals were done really well on this. But yeah, I'm curious to hear the new album, and I'll have to catch up with Queensryche because I've kind of neglected them in recent years.
The Todd Latore stuff I've actually really enjoyed, which has been really interesting. Because there was one episode we did way back where you had it was me, Jimmy, and Dennis, and we did one where in the same episode we had, you know, the one Queensryche with, you know, Frequency Unknown, and the other for Queensryche releasing the album at the same time. So we did an episode where we went back to we put them head to head. That was a lot of fun. Ever since that sort of time has come out, I've really enjoyed the stuff they've done with Todd Latore. It's been a few years now, so I think people should be, you know, well and truly used to this kind of lineup overall. I think that what we're getting on this particular single is Todd actually being, I mean, the biggest criticism over the years is that Todd has been trying to be too much like Jeff Tate, or they've tried to push him to be like Jeff Tate on the albums. I think being a bit more of himself in this one, and like you mentioned, the Maiden vibe of it, is almost like the band is sort of meeting this middle point between, Todd's doing his thing and the band doing their thing. They've sort of had enough years to sort of grow together now as an outfit. So I think we're finally going to get what this outfit sounds like, being a complete and well-rounded actual band as opposed to two different projects sort of working together. That's what it feels like on the single here. I like you said, the solos on this were fucking cool. This feels like old meets new with this band. It's a bit of a theme tonight, but this is old meets new with these guys. I like there's a bit of darkness in this song too. And it built to a really nice close. There's a good hook. The chorus really stays with you. That's a really good chorus on this one. And I'm keen for the album on the back of this single alone. I've enjoyed everything they've done with Todd. I think this is just more of the same. But actually, if anything, I'm probably more excited because I reckon we're probably going to get something that is going to be, traditional Queensryche, but also not traditional Queensryche, and you're going to get them, this really organic shift is what I feel like I'm going to get out of one single. I know it's a big call and all that sort of stuff, but that's what I'm hoping for. And this song gives me that sort of belief that it's going to come from that way. So I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I thought it was a really good song. So let us know what you think out there, people. Back on to comments for a second here. Back onto the Stryper albums. David said, no, I like the last few, but this song has grabbed me more straight for that. Okay, cool. Fair enough. Good to have that sort of feedback there on that one. Tough. Good to see you, buddy, over on YouTube. Thanks for joining us tonight. I got a couple of comments here from him. He's gone, I'm sort of confused by Stryper. They like a religious parody metal, which is an awesome idea, but too much God talk for an atheist like me. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in believing that I have nothing to believe that how hardcore I am. So I'm getting some tongue twisters tonight between the fucking gig and everything else. Fucking hell, people. I'm not that good. What do we got?
Tongue twisters.
Yeah, I know, too many. Damien, good to see you. He's going, sorry I'm late. Doesn't matter what time you get here, so long as you're having fun with it. Joel, he says, me too. I'm not sure if that's to do with being late or just if it's something to do with Stryper there. Just clarify for us, Jolie. But yeah, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Sorry?
I'm confused by Stryper.
There's a problem with it. A lot of us are just perpetually confused anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's very true. What else we got here? Nicole says, actually a fairly good song. They don't normally suck me in. I think this is back to Queens right now. Darren says, Todd LaTorre has made these guys relevant again. This is a really cool tune. Bring on the album. Nicely done. As Rowan says, their last album was awesome. There's a lot to like in this track, but I'm hoping to hear slightly more interesting songs on the rest of the album. But still, I expect the next album to be great. I think that they're going to play it safe with the single because just the way the fan base responds to them when they release new music. I think we'll get more interesting stuff on the album for sure. But fingers crossed, regardless. Vinny, good to see you. He's going, sorry, Mr. Sight. Eddie fucking Munson. Enough said. Yes, definitely. Eddie Munson is an absolute jet. What a great character. There we go. Damien's got a question saying, I'm a big Jeff Tate fan. How does it compare? Go back through, if you go back through the last few albums that Queensryche have done with Todd LaTorre, I think that there's actually, like Jimmy in particular, because he's a massive, massive Queensryche fan. Like he's one of the ones that has Operation Mindcrime. That's, his all-time favorite album. And so he always criticized Todd LaTorre for sounding too much like Jeff Tate, if that's, something to take away there. So if you go through where he joined and as things go along, he sounds very much like not a clone or anything, but you can just feel that the band are pushing that angle a lot with that stuff there. So yeah, definitely a big Jeff Tate vibe. If you were not happy with Jeff Tate on some of his earlier stuff, now the last thing he did was really good vocally, but there was a couple of things there you're sitting there going, oh boy, this isn't that impressive. Todd LaTorre was filling the hole very nicely there. So hopefully that helps you out, Damien. I thought it was. Did you have any thoughts on that one, Dave, or not?
Yeah, because I've missed the last couple of Queensryche albums, so I haven't really heard the imitation that he's been doing of Jeff Tate. But this, I don't pick it up at all. He just seems like his own person, which I think is cool because Jeff Tate had such a distinct voice. It wasn't just his range; it was his delivery and his tone. So he was one of the unique singers. So it's very hard to emulate him, regardless of how close you can get to it. So especially this Todd LaTorre is doing him now.
Yeah, I think this new track you get more of. And if you go back to his solo album, he did what, earlier this year or was it late last year? I forget.
Last year. Yeah, it was last year.
Last year. Sorry, late last year. That was when we got a really big showcase what he was capable of, and that's why I think you're getting that balance out between the two. outfits coming together now. Jolie has replied with Stryper, which she was referring to Stryper, I believe. But there we go. Either or will do when it comes to that.
Stryper's great. Stryper's a great band. All about the nuns.
Sorry?
It's all about the nuns with that Stryper band.
Here we go. Alrighty. Damien said, cheers for that. Was gold. You're right on the money. Darren says his solo album is fucking awesome. It is a good solo album. His top album last year. That was great. Rowan says, DeGarmo and Tate were the creative core of the original Queensryche, and while the technical skill has always remained, Todd is Tate's level equal at a technical level. They've struggled to find that creativity. Maybe not. I think this album might have a few twists and turns. We'll see. But I've always enjoyed what they've done. I get what you mean, that the grand concept stuff, probably not the same, but I've enjoyed what they've done overall. But hey, horses for courses, people like what they like. Alrighty. On to something entirely different now. We're going to move on to an acoustic-based track. We always go through these gear changes. So let's get on to the latest from the Black Skeleton. Again, it's in the comments in the description box, so feel free to check it out. And the song is called Be Free. So the band is the Black Skeleton. The song is Be Free. This is the latest single from the band, fronted by Quinn Gardner-Kane, most notable for his time in Def Rhyme. This is, I think, the third or fourth single from this outfit overall. And this one, I don't know if you picked up on it, David, there's a little female vocal in there. It's actually his daughter in the background of things, singing along with stuff. So it's pretty cool. I think she was like 7 years old at the time they did this one. So that's pretty cool. It's a nice little, heartfelt touch on there. But how'd you go with this one, Dave? Change of pace?
Yeah, this was really cool. It was good. I didn't say change of pace, but I recognized the name. We did one of their singles earlier this year around summertime, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was pretty heavy. And I remember when we heard that, it's like, this is interesting. So it was very different in style, but this is fully acoustic and there's some strings in it. It's a bit melancholy. It's reflective. It's slow. And it's massive contrast to what we heard before. But this is really, really good. The lyrics are fucking amazing. There's some really good wordplay and delivery. Vocals are great. And as I said, the string section is really good too. And knowing that the female vocal is his daughter, that's a really nice touch, because you don't get singles like this anymore. People always go for the grab you by the balls rocker. And it's nice to have something that's a totally different change of pace. So if you want something a bit different, this is very cool. I want to hear more from this band. This band's good.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's a few singles out there from this outfit, and we have discussed some of it before, but this is probably the biggest ballad feel and vibe from this outfit that we've had yet. This is a long way from Def Rhyme. This is a long way from Def Rhyme. It's all built around acoustic tones and vocals. Having, like you said, Quinn's daughter is just a really nice little touch on this thing. Adds a bit of a point of difference to it. I found it to be really, really sort of heartwarming, that little element to it. I don't know how much it's one of those things where if you don't know that, I don't know how much the impact sort of changes toward the song, but just knowing it before you even hear it, it was, a sentimental thing for me. It's a heartfelt song. It's really earnest. Like you're saying, there's some good lyrics in this one. The wordplay is very clever. It's very intelligent. But the vocal delivery also leans into the emotion of the song really nicely as well. It's a softer touch. It is that, acoustic-based song. Like you're saying, you don't get a lot of singles quite like this one, but because this isn't the band, I think, trying to really get your attention, quote-unquote, they're doing a lot to get your attention, but they, at the same time, just sort of keep plugging along and doing what they do. So I don't know about releasing an EP or an album or anything from this particular outfit. I think it's just sort of singles at a time at the moment, but I could be wrong. But yeah, this is another good song from these guys. I haven't heard a song from this outfit that I haven't liked yet. So if you're a fan, then check it out. But if you want something a bit more earnest and heartfelt, it's well worth a few minutes of your time. So yeah, that's that one. I enjoyed that one quite a bit too. So I'm glad that you did as well. We'll get on to another change of pace in a second. We'll see how we go with that one. Tough says, good to see I'm not the only one with a nun fetish. Powerwolf, demons are a girl's best friend, giggity. That, very well played, Tough. Yeah, very well played. That is very, very true. That is a great clip, actually. That's underrated clip, that one. Well put. But Belle says, I really love this one. Grip me from the start, didn't let go. Nice. I'm glad that this one got your attention too. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that one with us. Alrighty, we are going to change dramatically from that to this one. This will be probably the heaviest thing we cover tonight. I don't think Dave's going to enjoy this one too much, but we'll see how we go. In the comments in the description box, you're going to find the latest from Gippsland band Ocean Sleeper. The song is Your Love I'll Never Need. So the band is Ocean Sleeper. The song is Your Love, I'll Never Need. There's a link in the comments and the description box, so check it out. This is a new single from the Gippsland band. Vocalist Carl expands on the theme of this one by saying, lyrically, I wanted to articulate the way that greed is like a disease, that everyone you idolize and look up to isn't what they portray. Everyone you love will let you down. Watching people try to put on the persona of something non-authentic in the desire to be seen as what they want to be, but not what they are. Everyone dies, and in that moment of being stripped to their core, you can see the so-called glory of someone who hates the realest of themselves so much. Bled out for all to see.
That's fucking delightful, isn't it?
It's a happy song. It's a very, very happy song. How'd you go, Dave? It's not your bag, this style, normally.
I'm glad you explained that to me because I couldn't understand a fucking word you were saying. Yeah. Now, after watching Stranger Things and the whole Master of Puppets scene, I'm like, fuck yeah, metal! Like, full of happy vibes and everything. And then I listen to this and just like, I want to take my fucking ball and go home. Things have changed, man. Things have changed. Fucking
It's
wow.
very yeah. It's not classic metal.
No, and you know, metalcore. As soon as anything has core in its genre title, I can tell I'm not going to like it.
Yeah.
It's ultra heavy. It's screamo vocals. For what it is, it's really done well. They've obviously got fans on Spotify. They've got fucking heaps of monthly listeners. But yeah, it's young people music, and you know, as I said, it's done well. But I feel like I've heard this song 20 times before when we've done singles. All this genre just sounds very much the same. Cookie cutter. By the numbers, screamo here, some clean vocals there, ultra heavy, you know, pissed off with authority. I don't get it. I mean, yeah, things are tough these days, but you know, we've got a lot better than a lot of other people do. I don't understand this anger and everything. Maybe I'm just old. Like I said, it's probably young people music, but yeah, not for me.
Old man yells at cloud to hippie in 30 seconds flat.
I'm a complex person. I can be a hippie, I can be a metalhead, and I can be obsessed with nuns. So it's a fun place inside my head, man.
And fists. And fists.
Hey, fisting nuns with the hippie love, it's all good.
Wow, was there anything else you want to add on that one? Or
Fisting nuns help them scream God's name.
Oh, God, here we go. All righty, I might cut you off there. Yeah. Before we go out of control. It's funny because the Black Skeleton is one I thought you'd like, because the last time we did that band, Tim sort of struggled with it. This is the sort of thing I knew you'd struggle with, and Tim would be good to have on for this kind of one, because it's his wheelhouse. So, you know, we're playing to people's strengths a little bit here. But this is, you know, modern, heavy. It's the most aggressive thing we will talk about tonight. But I thought it had a really nice swing in the chorus. It's a matter of how deep you're willing to pay attention to these songs. I think that's where it's the difference between you and I is. I will dig into these songs pretty deeply these days, but I can understand how you'd think that if you're not engaged by it, you're not going to dive into what makes it.
I forced myself to give it a few spins, so I was trying, but just like I've fucking heard this before. Yeah,
but for me, because I'm more interested, if that makes sense. It's and that's not a slight. It's just it's an observation. The swing in the chorus, I thought that was a really nice touch on this one. And yeah, you got the heavy verse, melodic chorus, all that kind of stuff. But there's a good hook, and I thought the contrast between the two elements was really strong on that, which, you know, made it interesting and made it stand out a bit. There's a big time breakdown, I thought, which really, like, a lot of breakdowns are generic, but this one was actually really well done. It served the song nicely. And there's a vocal, like the growling vocal goes really low to like really high in this part. I thought that was really impressive. Like, if you don't like growling music, it's not going to do anything for you. But just that there's a part where the growl goes low to high in the breakdown. It's like, fuck, that was cool. Around that, the lyrics were good, nice emotive conviction to it. For this style of music, you want to believe that they believe it, kind of thing, and you get that impression. I think it's important for this one. So yeah, if you like this style of music, it's a good track. If you don't like this style of music, it's not going to change your mind at all. It's one of those ones, but yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. An interesting little track there. So we'll see how they go, but yeah, well done for me from the boys from Gippsland. It's actually kind of funny because I used to live out that way when I was a kid. But yeah, there we go. That's that one there. Give us your thoughts out there as well, folks, when you've checked it out. What do we got here? David says, screamo vocals bore me to tears. And there we go. We're going to get people that are going to be on either side of this sort of coin here. What do we got here? Back to the Black Skeleton for a second. Darren says very Springsteen-like. Actually, that's a good comparison. Yeah, that's cool. Here we go. Sounds like music I find at a bar filled with old drunks who I will join soon enough. That's it there. That's the one with, I think that's back to the Black Skeleton. Moving on to, sorry, I'm fucking trying to scroll through things here. Moving back to Ocean Sleeper here. It's a catchy little ditty, but vocals not my bag. Young people's music, so there we go. Tough says, Stranger Things should have ended the first season, but I can't complain. It's introducing metal to future metal heads. There we go. Good point there as well. Here we go, Sally. I knew you'd be into it. Sally goes, yeah, I'm into it. I can hear in this moment here in a song called Blood. I didn't pick up on the lyrics in the first listen, though. Well done. Cool. Also, Belle, I thought you'd like this one too. She goes, love the heavy verses, very North Lane. The chorus is catchy, but don't like that kind of vocal at all. But overall, pretty good, but won't listen again. Okay, interesting there. What do we got? Darren says, agree, Dave. These types of bands start sounding the same. Not bad, but not great. Rowan says, I grew up in Gippsland. Couldn't get into this one, though. And that's all right. Like, there's going to be different things here. That's why it's cool that we have a diverse audience. Yeah. That's why we cover as many different things as we've got, because there are going to be people that are right into this stuff and people that aren't. And that's why we've got different people behind the scenes here too. Like if we'd have had the usual crew where you, me, and Tim, you get different opinions widely across that as well, which is, I don't know, it's part of the fun. That's what it's all about. It's all part of the conversation. And speaking of conversation, let's get into our hot topic today. The conversation we want to have is just should bands live stream more of their gigs, their live shows, as a thought process here with, attendance being down across the board and a lot of things. But yeah, just do you think so, Dave? Do you think bands should make more of an effort to live stream more often? And
yeah, I reckon they would.
Not just getting on your phone and, off you go, like actually produce something.
Yeah, I reckon like a massive event like Epica and Nightwish had done, during lockdown, but some of them continued to do it when people could actually still go to concerts. But to make like a big event where like Epica had like carnival stuff into their live stream and Nightwish had like cool backdrops. So you can do some really cool stuff. And, there are people that either one can't afford to go to a gig these days or two physically can't leave the house for whatever reason. So it's a good way to let them be included. And, a few years ago, I was starting to think, bands are really going to change their set list up because everyone has their phones at gigs and they're going to either live stream it themselves or just film it and put it on YouTube. But more and more bands seem to be just playing the same set list over and over, which shits me. But it's not stopping people from going to see their favorite bands. So there's going to be no real drawback to a band doing it in a professional way of streaming their own shows. It'd be better for people that want to like relive the show they go to if they can just see it on the band's own site or YouTube, rather than everybody holding their fucking phones up and capturing shitty audience footage. So do it professionally. It didn't hurt Pearl Jam when they released every concert they did on a few tours when they did those bootleg CDs 20 years ago. People still went to the shows. So I think it'd be cool. Metallica have live Metallica. So there were ways to do it. Yeah, it's all archive. And I honestly don't think people are going to collect every single. Well, hardcore people might. They're not going to want to watch everything. But for people that can't get out, it'd be cool for them to be able to see something. Or for people that want to relive the show they were at, or see a massive show like the Foo Fighters have that tribute gig coming up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be live streamed, and that'd be fantastic to hit everyone around the world. They used to do it 20 years ago, the Freddie Mercury one and Live Aid, they were all live streamed. So without the technology, I think it should be happening a lot more than what it has in the past. So, yeah, absolutely.
I'm with you. I think this is actually being overlooked in a lot of respects, right down to the smaller bands as well. I think that long term with what's happening with COVID and everything going on as well, you got a few things at play. Yeah, it's harder to get the production thing up and running. You're going to find a bit of a ebb and flow in the economy of this, so to speak, where it comes to people being able to do it and the price point and all that kind of stuff. That'll balance out over time. But I think that this sort of is best to be moved on sooner rather than later because attendances are down for a lot of things across the board. We're hearing, I know you don't follow the AFL that closely, but most sporting leagues are complaining about how attendances are down. And this is in Australia, by the way, and Australia is fucking sports mad. And they just, it's funny that it's all geared now toward television, and between that and COVID and cost of living, that kind of stuff, people aren't attending. live events anymore, or are very picky. I know that I'm pickier about what I'm willing to go out and do at the moment. And that's just because I just feel that way at this point in time. I'm lucky I haven't had COVID yet, so I want to try and keep it away for as long as I can. I'm the few people I know that hasn't managed to get it yet, so I'm trying to avoid it. So I think that there's ways to do this one that even for smaller bands, it should be explored. Venues should invest in this kind of stuff as well. This is where a lot of the grants that go out there maybe should be invested into this kind of stuff. Because if you could just have a good camera or a good setup and, people that can just sort of change angles or mix things, on the fly kind of thing. So you'd have basically the sound guy, the light guy, and then the live stream guy kind of thing, which can just sort of, punch in the desk feed and a bit of the room feed kind of thing and just sort of in the different camera angles and just sort of pick things as you go along. And it doesn't need to be that technical or professional. You can get one of your friends to do it. Like a lot of bands do that anyway. So I think that if the venue has the gear established, I think it should definitely be looked into much more strongly than it currently is. I think that you can do things like add-ons. Like if you have bands are going to find it harder to play to huge venues. That's over the years going forward. That's going to become less and less of a thing. And they're going to find a shift away from the CBD, which means how do you get people involved in going to live shows? So I think, what you were saying, people are going to want to, one, relive the experience. But two, if you can't get there, then just have like a couple of bucks for a digital e-ticket kind of a thing. And just, you get to watch the show live and then you can have it as an archive. It's great for content later on too. You can build clips out of it all as well. Like if you can, like on Zoom, for example, you can record every angle. So you can cut it together later on as a clip or whatever you want to use it as. It's great for digital content, which is what it's all about with social media at the moment too, for different platforms. I just think that it, makes a lot more sense to start investing in it. I just think that if you can capture your live show, especially if you do a good one with an audience, that's fantastic. But also the ones we had during lockdowns where, Dropkick Murphys did a full-on live show and there was no one in the room but the band and the crew. But, they made these things work. Same thing with the Epica one you mentioned as well. They did a really good one there too. You can go the extra mile, put on a full-blown stage show and do it like a live show. Or you can do a thing where you have a smaller venue, pack it out, get a really good vibe going, get the room captured on there and put a live show together on a live stream. Then that'll probably make people more incentivized to go and see it in person next time if they capture a really good show. And I think it makes the band be on point more as well. I think the fear about it being, looking or sounding good, get past that. That will catch up as things go along. I just think that we need to start. I would like to set up more often than it is currently. No matter how big or small the band is, I just think that is a opportunity that's being let go to waste at the moment. But that's my thoughts on it. It won't replace live shows, but I just think it's a way to complement. And in the digital age, I think it just needs to be invested in a little more strongly. But hey, that's my thoughts. We'll see what the people out there say about it. So here we go. Here we go. What do we got? What do we got here? So Tough says, considering they don't make much money from it, but it might help with people finding them. I watched a lot of live streaming things during lockdown, and this is where it sort of comes to. Don't forget, too, people are quite happy to sit at home now on a Friday night and watch whatever comes to mind. If you promote it well enough, you probably get a good market share. Tough says, wait, that sounds bad. I mean, music-wise, lol, giggity. Josh, good to see you, Josh. He's gone. Queen and Adam Lambert are live streaming a film of their recent O2 Arena show. Nice way to engage people instead of releasing a DVD or Blu-ray. I agree. Very, very smart way to do things. Also, Voyager and Toto did a pro shot live stream in lockdown and have released them as albums, and that's a good way to do it as well. I think that this whole way of doing it, those are prime examples of what I think should be done more of. They're good points. Thank you, Joshua. Rowan says Devon Townsend did a mix of streamed gigs over COVID, lots of free streams and some paid streams with higher green screen production. He released them on CD, DVD packages too. Pretty good thinking. That sort of stuff, you can do those things on, maybe incorporate into Patreon, things like that. You can do things like that to sort of the arts economy can utilize this more, I think. Tough also says people that are disabled, need metal and can't make the gigs live stream would be great. That's a good point too. Yeah. I've had a few people comment that sort of stuff to us over the years. That's a good point there. Also, when you have to talk to banks for buying a meat pie at the footy, I'll stay away from being a cheap ass monkey I am. And that's fair enough too. It is hard now to. Yeah. That's why I think if you can, $15 at the door, okay, cool. But if you can just put a couple of bucks on your digital ticket, it might hope to boost a bit more income-wise. Darren says live streams would be great for bands when people see that what they're like live, they're more likely to go and see them. I think that's half the battle. You've got to get to where people are first. You're not going to make people come out and see you if they don't know what they're going to get. So I just think more of this, it's a different age from when Kiss would just go out and, the reputation was there. Now everyone can be everywhere all the time. So you've got to be where people are. So everyone's at home watching things like this or doing, whatever on their phone, be where people's attention is. And that's, you got to start that process if you want to get more of that. Like we see, I think some bands doing it well, some bands not so well, but hopefully that's something that can be picked up on and improved in the future. But we'll see what happens. It's just a thought. It was a good chat, though. Interesting that everyone's on the same page here as consumers. I just wonder if we can get the bands on board. That's the thing, isn't it?
That's true.
That's there. Sally says the Foo Fighters tribute is live stream for sure, as far as I know. I think it's a good move. People will go to the gigs live without a worry there. I think it reaches the audience in a different way where you can have all your mates over and barbecue it up. That's a good one too, the social aspect. People always want merch no matter what. Streaming is targeting a market that's been overlooked. That is an excellent way to put it, Sally. Could not have said it any better myself. But yeah, think about that. Everyone talks about, that Foo Fighters event will be huge. If you have like a watch party at home, remember the old WCW Nitro Monday night fucking the party thing? It's like that kind of thing. Imagine having a thing where you live stream and then, I don't know about now, but you could do it eventually. We'd be able to sort of get audience interactions going on as part of it all. Like that'd be something really cool too. Like there'd be the scope for this if it gets developed far enough, revolutionize the whole thing. But we're a few years off from that, but I think we should start. We should start investing in this more. But hey, that's what I think. Yeah, well, there's a lot of grants and that out there for stuff now, so let's hopefully see some of it go that way. Here we go. Joshua says, "Hey Dave, will you be turning your sound up when Geddy Lee comes on the Foo Fighters tribute?"
No. All right. Sticking my head under the pillow. Make it stop.
I knew that was going to get a reaction. I'll turn it up, Josh. So there you go. But Sally says, "Fuck yeah!" There we go. So that's when it's coming back to the feedback there. Alrighty, let's have some fun with some would you rather. We did this one a while back, and this question directly came from the audience commentary last time around. So we have you all to thank and or blame for this one out there. And so the would you rather topic for tonight. Oh, hang on, I've got a new comment here. So there we go. Don't worry, I don't think he's singing. No, I think he's probably just playing on that one. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Poor Dave. Anyway, alrighty. So today's would you rather is if you're putting together your own band, and just forget the rest, but just focus on the lead guitarist moment here, or for lead guitarist for a moment, I should say. The idea is that if you can only have one. So would you rather Steve Vai or Joe Satriani to be the lead guitarist in your personal band that you're putting together? So this is Joe Satriani or Steve Vai. Who do you want as the lead guitarist in your band? Like I said, this directly comes from the question we did. What was the last one? Would you rather have something to do with the Motley Crue and John Crosby album or something else? I forget, but we were doing that one. And then in the comments, this idea came up a lot. So yeah, would you rather Joe Satriani or Steve Vai to be the lead guitarist in your band? Dave, which would you rather?
This is a very hard question. Both are very, very good guitar players. Great writers, great performers. Both have great albums. I've seen Satriani live. Haven't seen Steve Vai live. But I've been reading Guitar World for years, and they both regularly have columns. I've learned a lot from both. I would love to just have a conversation with either of them. But of course, if I was in a band with either of them, I would feel massively inferior because there's no way I could play as well as either of them.
Yeah.
So in light of that, the only way I could feel good about myself is to be in a band with Joe Satriani.
Wow.
The guy's got no hair, so I will always feel superior to him. So he's bald. I'm not. Fuck you.
This just went completely not the direction I thought I'd go with there. Oh my god!
Can't match him in guitar skills, but as far as he'll always be the bald guy in the band, and I'll always be the guy with the hair. So that's why I picked Joe Satriani.
Oh wow! I can't believe that hard left turn. Well done, Dave. Which is kind of funny. I'm actually going to go the other way. I'm going to go with Steve Vai. This is a harder one for me because unlike a lot of the people on the panel normally, or I'm pretty sure you yourself, Dave, as well, I don't really enjoy the solo guitar albums a lot. They're a struggle for me over the years. You've known me, Dave, for how long now? Yeah. I always struggle with the guitar albums. They just don't do a lot to grab my attention. So I sort of had to go on. I'm not as up to speed on these discographies as I probably should be because it just, the idea of it isn't engaging to me. I'd rather go listen to there's a million albums in the world to listen to. And it's just a guitarist's album is not one I'm going to reach for, generally speaking. They've got to be done really well to get my attention. So I did some deep diving, and I said today I had a day off for the first time. So I did some listening to both artists today, did some digging around and reading up and just doing all those things because you want to, unlike the hair, I figured I'd actually try and have a little bit of education about this one. And I went with Steve Vai in the end just because there was a lot of diversity in the comments too, by the way. It started out being sort of 50-50 with the post put up earlier today and then just went much more to Satriani, which is cool. But I just think that I get the feeling when you read and when you listen to stuff that Steve Vai is probably a little more organically fitting into a group idea than Joe Satriani. You look at their discographies and that, and the people that Steve Vai has worked with are very, very varied and interesting. I think Steve Vai's playing style and his tones and his diversity in his own compositions as well actually interests me more. So it's just purely down to personal taste. So I think, maybe Satriani is a smoother player, but there's something about Vai that I just enjoyed listening to more. So I figured if I'm going to be in a band with someone, you're sitting across the room trying to write some songs and you want to get someone to co-write and play with you and that kind of thing, I'll never be fucking even near a guitarist of that level. But just for something bit fun, or who would I like to produce kind of thing, I think just, Steve Vai will be a lot more fun in that regard to me personally. But that's just, it's interesting because, like I was saying, the comments started out being sort of 50-50 and then started to lean heavily towards Satriani by the end of it all. But it's funny that you've gone Satriani with the hair. I've gone a bit more serious and gone, okay, I'm going to go with Steve Vai because I just think it'd be more interesting and more engaging for me as a player, as, on the engineering side of things. So I just thought it'd be a bit more fun to go down that path. But give us your thoughts. We've got some comments on this one for sure. What do we got? Wow, okay, there's a few here. Nicole has gone Satriani. So there we go. There's one first off. Same with David. David's gone Satriani as well. What do we got here? Yes. So Darren's gone. That was similar. So Rowan was the one that brought up the question last time around. So there we go. Mika, good to see you. I'm not sure the comment didn't come through, but good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Rowan said, yeah, that was me. I'm pretty sure that rules that I don't need to answer the question. Thank God. No, fuck off. That's not fair. You've got to give us your thoughts, mate. It was your idea. Give us your thoughts. Sally's gone, hair matters, mate. So there we go.
It does.
So, there we go. Tuff says Joe Satriani. He can teach me guitar, plus I have more hair as well. So there we go. Dave's idea is getting some legs there. TC, good to see you. I know we're going to be dragging with you later on tonight. He's going, I prefer Vai as a guitarist, but I think Satriani fits the dynamic of a band better. Okay, opposite way to me. Bands with Vai, like the White Snake album, can be too dominated by Vai's sound. Okay, fair enough. What do we got here? Bell says, I would choose Vai because I loved his work on Slip of the Tongue. That is a good choice there. Sally says, going with Joe because he's more melodic and warm. Steve is really on it technically and has more grit. I think a hard choice for me. Here we go. Here's a good one. Jeff has gone Satriani for me, plus he was Vai's teacher. There we go. Good point there, Jeff.
Yeah.
Good point. But again, it's interesting how it's such a question, isn't it? It's such a question. I think it's a really good one there. So, Rowan, well done on bringing it to us, but I want that answer from you. I want that answer. Josh says, don't forget Satch was in a rock and roll band. Yes, I remember Chickenfoot. Their albums were fantastic, actually. So, yes, definitely good. It was just looking through the length and breadth of the collective careers that got my attention there. Vai comes from the Zappa school, a lot more technical. That's true as well. But Rowan says, bloody hell, musically I couldn't split them, so the tiebreaker would end up being that Vai has worked on some of my favorite oriented albums, Sex and Religion and The First of Dave Lee Roth. There we go. That's there. But also Darren says, I can't split them with Satriani. He is in Chickenfoot with Hagar. That band rocks. That is cool. That Chickenfoot band is very, very good. If you haven't checked out Chickenfoot albums, fucking good ones.
Terrible name for a band, but a fucking great band.
Great band. Great band. Bad name, great band. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. Keep them coming, folks out there. If you're watching, if you tune in, whatever you're watching, we'll clip this one and put it as standalone content later on. But yeah, give us your thoughts. If would you rather Steve Vai, Joe Satriani? We've got two different answers out of us tonight, which is cool. We're getting a very diverse. The comments on this one have been really interesting to watch play out. So yeah, keep it coming, and we'll see how it all shakes out over time. We'll do a poll. That'll be interesting. Be an interesting battle episode one day. If I could stomach doing it, it'd be an interesting battle episode. It would be cool. It'd be so yeah. We should maybe look at that down the line, but we'll see how we go. There we go. Roman says, I never checked that chicken foot because I never liked Hagar. Maybe I should try them. No, definitely try them. Don't write off Sammy Hagar. Tough says Joe can teach us how to play teach us how to play Steve's 3-piece guitar. So that is a monster guitar. Jeff says first her Satch because I bought the album Surfing with the Alien 87. Totally
great album
work. Yeah, that gets a lot of love, and I was blown away. That is a starting point for a lot of people. I do completely get that one as well. Alrighty. Keep it coming. Just we'll bring up the comments as we go through. We'll move on to it's funny because we were going to do this album as a bonus one before we started going live. But because we had a plan and then the plan fell apart because just life gets in the way. It's all good. But so we're going to do this one as a bonus, but we thought, fuck it, we'll do this one as part of the stream because we originally were going to do the latest from Municipal Waste and Shinedown this week as well, but we haven't had a chance to. I've got notes, but we haven't got a chance to put a panel together for that one. So we're going to move on to the latest from James LaBrie. So in the comments, in the description box, you know what to do by now, people. I'm going to put a link in there for you all to check out. So the artist is James LaBrie, the one from Dream Theater. But the song is Am I Right? That is your reference track in the comments now. It's also in the description box if you miss it there, so make sure you check it out. Before we do, sorry, I'm just going to quickly go through comments. Nicole says, I still have the album Surfing with the Aliens. So like I said, that one gets a lot of love, that album. Definitely. And Roman says, Vi taught Zappa how to play Zappa. True story, sort of. So, yeah, there we go. There's a lot there. It's a lot of back and forth. This is so much fun. Keep it going, folks. We'll keep moving on, though. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the latest from James LaBrie. So, let's get stuck into our first of 3 reviews tonight. Now, this is James LaBrie with Beautiful Shade of Grey. It's 11 tracks, 48 minutes, the 4th solo studio album from the Dream Theater vocalist, released May 2022 via Inside Out Music. Produced by James with Paul Logue, mixed by Linus Corneliusson at Fascination Street Studios in Sweden, mastered by Jens Bogren at the same studio. Vocals were recorded by Chance LaBrie, so James's son. Where was it? At Pirates Treasure Studio in Canada. 3 singles have been released from this album, including Devil in Drag and Give and Take. This album took about 2 years to make, and there's about a 30-minute long documentary for a making-of side of things for those that are keen to check out more information on the backstory of this one. Dave, you're a big fan of this guy, so why don't you go off?
Okay, yeah, this is cool. Now, if you've been following James's solo career for the past 15 years, he's stuck pretty much to the Dream Theater sound with a bit of experimentation here and there, but with each progressive album that he's done, he's added some death metal vocals, not from him, but his drummer usually does that. So being progressively getting heavier and heavier. But at the same time, in his work in Dream Theater, he's been writing the more mellow songs on the Dream Theater albums, like I Disappear, Vacant, Out of Reach. This new solo album is more along that. And it's mellow and it's laid back. And it's easy to listen to, but it still has a lot of depth and some very well written and performed songs. And I think he was adding the heavier moments to his albums because that's what's cool in metal these days. It seems like he's just happy to just be himself because, as I said, the songs that he's been contributing to the Dream Theater albums have been more laid back ones. So he's just enjoying himself on this one, just writing some cool songs. So if you like acoustic guitars, strings, violins, cellos, some subtle use of synth, it's all on here. Straightforward songwriting where everything's just honest. There's nothing really to hide behind. It's not like distorted guitars or shreddy, flashy guitar playing. Just James's vocals sound really good on this. He's not, pushing himself into a range that he can't do. I think he's just found his comfort zone. It's just
nothing forced. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, just getting some musicians together that he likes playing music with, and acoustic guitar work on here was really good. I love a good acoustic guitar solo. It's a totally different method and way of doing an acoustic solo to an electric solo. Yeah, just some of the ways you can phrase on an acoustic. It's once again, you got nothing to hide behind.
Yeah.
The cello and the violin solo on Sunset Rain, that was really cool. Really well done on that. And the lyrics in that one are good too. Yeah. And there's a great cover of Led Zeppelin's Ramble On.
Yeah, that was ballsy.
Yeah, and it was a perfect place in the album too. But if you're familiar with that song, but you don't know much about James LaBrie, that's kind of like what you get for most of the songs on this. It's that tempo, that vibe, all the way through. And if you like that unleaded album that Page and Plant did in the mid-90s, you probably like this. Because I thought there was a few, it reminded me of that in a lot of parts. The album artwork is very cool too. Nice just the color in black and white for one side and the other.
Yeah.
If it was 10 years ago and I didn't know who 20 years ago and I didn't know who James LaBrie was, and I came across this in the music store, that album cover would have been enough to interest me to just buy the album. Yeah.
Nice.
So you can't judge a book by its title or album cover or whatever, but definitely good artwork. But I gave it 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a very cool listen. Nice. Devil and Drag, Sunset Rain, Hit Me Like a Brick, Wildfire, and Am I Wrong? Cool album.
Nice. Cool. Like it's been covered off, it's predominantly an acoustic album with some keyboards. It's not as proggy as Dream Theater. There is a bit of that in here, but you listen to Dream Theater, it's fucking left and right turns all over the joint. This is a much more organic flow and just normal quote unquote songwriting, if that makes sense. If you know what I mean, like it's it's the organic approach to this one. But there's some nice energy for an acoustic release. This one has some move to it. They've rocked it up a bit for an acoustic based album. The opening track has some nice groove as well. I like how they had the electric version of that at the end as well. So Devil in Drag was, they opened it up with the acoustic, and then the closing is the electric quote unquote version of it too, which is really, really nice. I'm not sure if it's the tone of this record or if James in his getting older kind of thing, but the tone of his vocal, I've really enjoyed it. I normally struggle a little bit with his tone, which is funny because from an outsider, him and Geddy Lee aren't that dissimilar kind of thing, the way they sing.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
When you listen to where they sit in the pitch, they're upper register more than anything else, and that kind of stuff. But I like Geddy Lee, you don't. I struggle with James LaBrie, and you don't. So this is where we've got different tastes, but we both enjoyed the vocal. I found it to be really enjoyable in this setting. His vocal really does work nicely here. Not that he can't sing; it's just tonally that what is pleasing to the ear. It worked really well on this one. I really enjoyed what he did here, and the harmonies, they were really good on this one too. It just really worked out. The way the keyboards are used as an electric instrument to offset against the acoustic tones was nice on this one as well. It fleshes things out. You don't have to lean into things like heavy guitars or a lot of bass and then to sort of fill it out. The sound walls there and everything else becomes an accent around, which is really nicely done. And that, plays into things like the production of it, the panning across it, everything is really warm. It's a great mix on this one too. Just enough spark on this one, but it's not those things where, an acoustic guitar is just sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. This one just has just enough sort of dusting on top to make it really nice. And, everything is well balanced from the production to the songs, the song order on the listen as well. I thought it was a really good touch here, having things like Give and Take followed by the Softer Sunset Ruin track. So the strings on that one, like you mentioned, were a great touch on that one too. Like Give and Take is upbeat. And then you got Sunset, Ruin, which is just a softer one there. Everything is well written, really well performed. And there's a surprising amount of hooks on this one too. I wasn't expecting that from this. It was really memorable stuff, which is really nice done. The chorus just gets stuck in your head pretty quickly. And for that and the things like lyrically, this has got some great storytelling going into it as well. I thought it was really well done in that regard. There's a lot of emotive depth to it. And that really brought these songs to life. There's some real heart and emotive content to these songs and the storytelling involved. It's really well done. Conscience Calling had that like neat little a cappella moment in there, just really briefly there. It was really nice done. That flows into What I Missed really nicely as well. Like the way the songs flow together along with that storytelling side of things, they just really did just lock everything down nicely. And again, the harmonies, fantastic. Then you got Am I Right? There's I know it's a single and it's an acoustic one here that we're playing, but there's a good pulse in that track too for mine. I just like the way it moved. And along with the sort of hard panning and hard on left and right on certain little percussive instruments, like the detail, the depth of it, that was, I don't know, on the deep dive, that one got my attention a lot too. I thought that track served to build things nicely on this listen as well. And there's a female vocal, which was really nicely done there as well. Taking on Led Zeppelin's Ramble On, when I saw it there, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is ballsy. And I didn't know if it'd work, but they pulled it off. They did a really, really good job. I was thoroughly impressed with it, actually. So I didn't think it'd fit the album or that they would do it as well as they did, but it really, really impressed me. And I thought that was a nice touch there. There's not a heap of darkness on this album per se. It's an emotive thing. It's not a purely uplifting listen, but it's got a deep and subtle sort of emotive depth across it, which is, it takes you on a journey while you listen to this album. Nothing complicated. It's just, really good songs, well written. The simplicity, if anything, actually sort of makes it more endearing and more engaging to me. There is something to be said for just having songs that are well written, well performed, and well captured. I don't know. This is cool. I don't know, like Dave, you know more than me. If his solo efforts are more like this, I'll be more inclined to go digging through those than the Dream Theater stuff that I know.
Most of them are like Dream Theater heavy, and they get progressively heavier as they go along.
Yeah.
He did some Mel Muzzer stuff before he did his own name, but
okay.
I haven't heard those two albums. But yeah, the stuff he's done under his own name. Like the first song on the first James LaBrie solo album is pretty much like Change of Seasons. It opens up with the heavy 7-string and then it gets into the heavy riffing and the threading solos. Okay. But there's a little bit of mellow experimentation in that album too. There's worth a listen.
Yeah, so this is sort of like this first sort of acoustic-based kind of thing.
Yeah, he's really changed gears with this one, which I thought was refreshing.
Yeah, well, I would happily hear more of this one. This is really, really cool to me. I enjoyed this a lot more than I expected, to be honest, because I'm a bit of a critic when it comes to anything to do with Dream Theater. But yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. So 8.5 out of 10 from me. Am I Right? Hit Me Like a Brick and Devil in Drag. Great songs, great album. I thought it was well worth the time. So give us your thoughts out there, folks. We've got some comments coming through. Here we go. Back onto the guitarist for a second. Jeff Has Gone Surfing was one of the first albums I've ever learned to play the first song to the last. Nice. That's cool.
Oh,
wow. That's impressive. Rowan says, I listened to this single earlier today. The singing is great, but it's a song that I'd disable in iTunes if I happen to buy the album. Okay, well, there you go. Nicole, similar sort of stuff here. I love his voice, but oh my God, too mellow for me. There we go. It's gone straight to the cafe playlist for her. So there we go. But Joshua is saying, I enjoyed this a lot more than the last Dream Theater record, even though some lyrics are cringe, hit me like a brick. I didn't mind lyrics on this one, but yeah. Anyway, but he also said much more replay value, which is cool. But Darren says, flip side, man, not feeling it. That's okay as well. Joshua's about to my comment now. Both Getty and James have both been guilty of sounding like South Park Canadians at times.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
Oh, good call, mate. And there we go. Yeah, Darren says they both are Canadians, so there we go. Jeff, speaking of Canadians, back in 85 or 86, I went to see my hometown heroine, the metal queen Lee Aaron. We're both from the same town. There was an unknown band opening, Winter Rose. Guess who was the singer? James LaBrie. There we go.
LaBrie. I had that album.
Yeah? Cool.
Yep. I have that album that he released.
Wow. And back on the other one there too, Dave. Rowan says, I really like that first Mal Muzzler album. This one isn't for me, though, so there we go.
I'll give Mal Muzzler a listen.
Okay, cool. I haven't checked it out either, so it's completely new to me. Tuff says, James was never going to be a world-class vocalist, and that band was an accident. They never expected things to go that far. I support that. I got to support that lightning in bottle moments. That's cool as well. But also, Darren, back to what Jeff said before, loved Lee Aaron. So there we go. Getting a bit of back and forth, which is awesome to see in the comments going through there as well. Tim C., I don't know if you're still tuning in, but just give you a heads up that we're going to do one more review and then we're going to tag you in, buddy. So I haven't seen you in the waiting room yet. Just make sure you get yourself sort of ready to go in the sort of next 5 to 10 minutes because we're going to drag you in very, very soon into proceedings. Oh, here we go. He's just jumped in. We're going to jump through one more review, buddy. I can see you there now. Cheers. We're going to do one more review. You can sit there chilling for a minute while Dave and I go through the latest from an Aussie band. So we're going to do we're changing the order up a bit today, but here we go. We've shared this single before. We're going to share it again because it is the most fitting video for these guys. So in the comments now, you're going to find a little video from a band called Flickertail, and it's their take on the classic Bowie track Heroes. So the band is Flickertail, the song is Heroes, and that is what we are going through with this one here. So This is Flickertail with Afterlife live in the studio. It's 5 tracks, 19 minutes. It's a posthumous EP from the Sydney band, formerly known as the Bittersweet Hearts. Released June 2022 via Golden Robot Records. Pretty much all the songs have been released as singles in one way or another, but its most notable one was the cover of David Bowie's classic Heroes. I don't know who produced this, but it's all live in the studio, no overdubs. This is all new songs aside from that cover. And a special thanks to Golden Robot Records for sending this one in. For the record, we also reviewed their EP, Hurry Up and Wait, a few years ago. But this is like, the swan song for these guys. It's a little farewell gift from this band that I thought was an interesting way to do things. But Dave, how'd you go with it?
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, we've done singles from this band before, and I've loved everything they've done. It's kind of sad that it is the swan song, but you know, for live in the studio with no overdubs, this sounds fucking great. You know, it's a cool little EP filled with fun, upbeat rock songs. All the songs have interesting stories, and you know, told with interesting lyrics, and the vocals are done really well. And I get a bit of a Phil Lynott style in his delivery. Not so much the tone, but the way the lines are phrased. You can tell this dude's definitely a Phil Lynott fan.
Well, he's Irish, so there you go.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, you know, if Phil Lynott gets in your head and you're able to write decent words, I suppose it will influence your delivery. But there was some very good wordplay in here, especially in the song "Don't Let Me Let You Down." I can be your misdemeanor, but I'll never be your Mr. Right. That's just the line. It's clever wordplay. I love stuff like that. There's lots of swings of the drums. This would be cool in a pub or just driving along. Guitar tone is really fitting to the style of rock and roll. It's not overly distorted or anything, and provides clarity to the notes. So it comes down to your tone and what you're picking to put in your songs. The melodies in Anything You Like and Don't Let Me Let You Down, that reminds me of Thin Lizzy as well.
Also the guitar work a bit as well.
Exactly. It's got a very Aussie feel to it, though. You know, as you said, they're Irish, but you can tell they've spent a lot of time, or probably grown up or whatever, in Australia.
Well, it's a mix. It's like one member from Ireland and the rest from Australia. So
that's a cool contrast. But yeah, you get that Aussie feel. I love music that has just something that makes it feel like Australia. Even the Bowie cover, Heroes, it's faithful to the original, but they made it their own. You still get that. It doesn't feel disjointed from the other songs that are on the EP. Just like, oh, this is Bowie, and suddenly we've got 4 other songs. It's just like these all seem on the same level. There's nothing overly complicated here. This is just guys making good music and writing some good songs. I would love to hear more from this band, but you know, hopefully at some point in the future they will get something else together. But yeah, this is a very cool release. 8 out of 10. Evidence of Life and Anything You Like are my standouts.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, this is live in the studio, no overdubs or any real treatment. Really, it's fucking impressive for that. If you're a fan of bands like Thin Lizzy, then you're gonna really enjoy this one. It's all about the vibe. The guitar work and lyrics gave me that Thin Lizzy feel, the same as you there, Dave. But there's great hooks here. These songs are so well written. I'm with you. It's a shame they bowed out, because these are great songs and they could have really cut through. Like, this is the sort of stuff that anyone can listen to and anyone can enjoy. It's easy to see why the label stayed with this and sort of pushed it to get out there. I'm glad that there's been a push behind this one, and it's easy to see why it's been supported so strongly. For live in the studio, it doesn't matter. Like, you can actually disregard that, because the mix is fucking fantastic on this one. It's really well done, really well balanced. It's warm. It's easy to listen to. The harmonies are fantastic on this as well. I like, and where they sit on the mix, just fucking brilliant. The cover of Heroes is really, really well done. They've certainly added their own flavor, and the guitar solo now, they're really, really cool as well. You know, they've managed to remain faithful, but also add their own flavor to it in a really nice way, which is hard to do well, and they've done it exceptionally well. I think the storytelling across the board, like you were saying, the wordplay is fantastic as well. This is engaging. It's got some fun stuff in there. It's got some emotive, serious stuff in there as well. For a small collection of songs, this covers a lot of ground, and each moment is worth your full attention. Again, it's live, so you got to think about it in that context. The performances are fucking nailed. I mean, you don't need to overdub any of this. It's just been fucking smoked. You don't get much like this. If anything, I'd like to hear more from this. We're talking before about, you know, bands live streaming or shows. If you don't want to live stream, do more of this. Just get the band in the studio and just record an EP worth of songs and film it. Like, it's another great way to get content out. It's another great way to do all this sort of stuff. I just think it's fucking fantastic. This has all the sort of sizzle you want from it. This has none of the flaws, though. It's really, really well done. I hope that this EP actually persuades a lot more bands out there to do something like this. I think this flows from top to bottom, like you were saying. Every track fits together equally well. Even the cover, it's like, it doesn't stand out in the like proverbial. It all fits so bloody well. Yeah, I'm disappointed that they called it a day, but at the same time, I'm glad that we've got this little release at the end. It's funny that you mentioned Don't Let Me Let You Down. That cleverness, that one got me as well. It's got that sort of street poet vibe, but it's not contrived. It's all genuine, which is really, really cool. If you like good old-fashioned rock and roll, this is about as good as it gets. It's genuinely so well executed. I can spin this over and over again. It's easy to listen to. This is really, really well done. And I would just like I said before, I'd like to hear more of this kind of stuff from bands in general. Give it a crack. See where you go with it. I fucking loved it. For an EP, this is brilliant. I gave it 9 out of 10. Anything You Like and Heroes are my standouts on this one, but the cover it's not a standout because it's a cover, or because of the original song. It's a standout because I've just done it so fucking well. Like, that cover is just amazing. You don't get many done that well. So yeah, check it out. Let us know what you think, folks. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm glad you enjoyed it too, Dave. What have we got here? So before I said we'll talk about Lee Aaron. So yeah, Jeff's back with Lee Aaron. Is from my hometown of Belleville, Ontario, Canada. There we go. There's the hometown stuff there. What do we got here? Nicole says I got a very Michael Hutchinson In Excess vibe. Okay, that's cool as well. I can get that when you mention that. But Darren says it did a great job in this Bowie cover, which is nice. Jeff says my Heroes is my absolute favorite Bowie song of all time, which means it's up there. And he says that cover is ripper. So that's good. That's absolutely, I love hearing things when people get their favorite song and it's get covered, and it's like, this could go one or two ways. It's either going to be really good or it's going to be fucking ballsed up. I'm glad he loved it. But also same with Darren. Darren says Bowie's a genuine legend. So there we go. A lot of love for Bowie. Some great fucking songs to cover. Why wouldn't you? But yeah, check that EP out. And yeah, let us know what you think, folks. That's well worth time. It's a farewell from the Aussie band. Wish them all the best with everything going forward, but if we can get more in the future, I will not say no at all to that. Alrighty, we're going to do a tag team in here for a second. Well, let's drag Tim into proceedings before we put Dave in the naughty corner. Let's just bring Tim in. Hey, Tim.
How's it going?
Hey, Tim.
Good, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Getting there. Bit croaky still, but getting there.
Yeah.
How's everything going on the home front? It's a bit of a rough week for you guys.
Yeah, it's been a house of COVID for 2 weeks. So, yeah, it's been fun. Not ideal on school holidays.
No.
To coordinate. Poor old Kobe's been stuck at home for a week, so he's just starting to get out and about now. So, but yeah, it's been a pain in the ass. It threw everything out of whack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but we're getting there. We're almost over it now. So
That's good.
all good.
That's good. Well, good to have you here with this one. What have we got here? Sorry, just going back to the cover there for a second. Tuff's gone. That was pretty cool. So we're getting a lot of love for that cover from Bo, which is nice. Did you check it out at all, Tim? Have you checked that one out?
Yeah, I listened to that cover the other day, and it really impressed me, that cover version.
Cool.
It's one of those songs that's been covered a lot. And obviously probably the most famous one is the Wallflowers one, was pretty successful. But I'll put this right up there with that. I thought it was really, really well done. Very impressive cover. Quite liked it.
Nice. Well, more quick praise there for that EP from Flickertail, which is nice. But Tim, you're here to go through a classic album this week, aren't you?
Correct. Yep.
All righty. So we're going to send Dave to the naughty corner because Dave wasn't able to get to this one this week. And then we're going to get Tim and I to go through a classic album. We'll get Dave back, though, to wrap things up and go to a bin later on. So forewarned, while I give my review, Tim, think of a bin. You're going to keep around for the bin.
Okay. I'll think of something.
All right, Dave, to the naughty corner for you.
I'm out.
All righty, Tim, let's get into it. We have one more album to do tonight, and that is the classic from Faith No More. We're going to be covering Angel Dust. So your reference track is none other than Midlife Crisis. So in the comments, in the description box, you know what to do. Find it. It's Faith No More with their song Midlife Crisis. It's right there for everyone to go and check out. while we go through and do the classic review for this week. So this is Faith No More, Angel Dust, 14 tracks, 61 minutes, the fourth studio album from the American band, released June 1992 via Slash and Reprise Records. Produced by Matt Wallace and the band at Coast Recorders and Brilliant Studios in California. 5 singles were released from this, including Easy and Midlife Crisis. So far, this is the band's best-selling album, with it peaking at number 10 in the US, making it the band's only top 10 album in the region. Also peaked number 2 in the UK, number 4 here in Australia, as well as numerous top 20 spots in Europe and New Zealand. It's been certified gold in both the US and UK. This is the band's last with Jim Martin on guitar. Was also the first where vocalist Mike Patton had substantial influence on the music and the lyrics. This is this week's Patreon Choice Classic Album Review. If you want to get involved in these ones, then you know what to do. Sign up to our Patreon page and just sort of get in there and get into the voting. We have a lot of love for this album in the comments and stuff over the last couple of days. So I'm pretty sure that you and I are both going to be in the same camp, but let's get to it. Tim, your thoughts?
Oh, where do you start with this album?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, they bring out The Real Thing in '89, which was so much of a game changer. Something so different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I absolutely love that album. Like, loved it to death. I thought it was phenomenal. And then they bring this out, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
But it's just blew me away. Like, I just never heard anything like this before. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you ever will. I think it's one of the most unique albums ever made. It's just so, you know, every track, you know, you've got the first single was Midlife Crisis, and that got my attention straight away. I thought, okay, this is, it had a bit from the old album, but you could tell it was going to be different. Then you got, you know, Land of Sunshine, just a frantic opener with some spoken word stuff in it, and probably completely different to anything on the first album. And then you got the Caffeine, which is a bit more of a sort of a crazy, sort of typical Mike Patton song. Yep. The single RV, like, just a unique track. I don't know how that works, but it just does. I just love every part of that song. It's so different, but it just seems to work well. There's some great lyrical stuff in this too, obviously, with, you know, Everything's Ruined tells a really good story. You know, and there's the typical Mike Patton frantic stuff in there, like Malpractice and Jizz Lobber, and then you've got like the Mr. Bungley kind of stuff that he did later on, or around that same time, I should say.
Yeah, just before. He was doing a Bungle album before they went to the studio for this one, so I think that rubbed off a bit. Yeah,
you can definitely hear it in some of the songs in there. You know, Be Aggressive's got the kids singing their vocals on that. Small Victory's a cracker of a song.
Yeah.
Crack Hitler's probably one of my favorite songs on the album. It's completely different. But again, it's one of those albums, like, I think when you asked for the top 5 the other day, that could change week to week with this album.
Yeah.
Like, it's just got so much on it. Like, every time I listen to it, I go back and go, I love that song. It's one of those albums I've never, ever got tired of. I just play it all the time. There's not a bad song on it. I mean, even Easy, that wasn't even meant to be. I wasn't even on the album.
Not on the original release. Yeah.
No, that got tacked on later. They sort of did that as a bit of something to do, I think, and it took off. So it got tacked on to the later releases.
Still heavily played too. That song is really good. Yeah.
But every song is different to the next. Like, don't get many albums that flow like so well like this, but are so unique from track to track.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like I said, I've never heard an album like this before, and I doubt that I ever will. Like, their next album was great too, but again, completely different. You know, the vocal style on this from Mike Patton was completely different to the previous album with him.
Yeah.
You definitely could hear his range more in this. And you could tell that he had a lot more input into this one, because I know the other album, basically, he just sung on it, where the songs were written for him.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's one of those albums I could just glow about day in, day out and just never get tired of. I mean, it'd be probably, if you're going to list your top albums of all time, it would easily sit in my top 3 to 4, I reckon.
Wow,
and that will flip around, but it's one of those albums that I just adore. I just love it. I just never, ever will get tired of this album. It is brilliant from start to finish. It's so unique, so different. The tracks are phenomenal. Everything about it, I can't get enough of it.
Nice.
Standouts. Where do you start? Midlife Crisis, Smaller and Smaller, Everything's Ruined, Kindergarten, Be Aggressive, Crack Hitler, Small Victory, all of them. That's a 10 out of 10, easily 10 out of 10 album for me. I wouldn't even, no discussion on that. It's just a comfortable 10 out of 10. It's just a phenomenal album from start to finish.
Yeah. Well, for context, you've been dealing with a bit the last couple of weeks, and you wanted to jump into this one. So you just thought it was in the pile this week. So if that gives everyone out there an indication of just how much you enjoyed this album, aside from your review, there we go.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's a wholehearted agreement from me. I know that Dave hasn't actually listened to this one. Dave, I know I can see you sitting in the room there. You've got to listen to this album. He's just flipping through pages doing something else. Look, every so often a band takes a chance. They take a risk, which it takes balls. Like these guys just released the real thing not long before this one. Then they come out and do this one. And like you said, it's so different. And I reckon the label would have been freaking out. Like the label would have been freaking. They're going, oh, fuck, what have we got? And not only was it good, they smoked it. They knocked it right out of the park with this one. There is so much going on in this one. Right from the opening with Land of Sunshine, Mike is off the fucking leash, and you can tell his performance is stunning on this, and I'm all for it. The more of Mike Patton in Faith No More, the better off it is for mine. That's not to knock on anyone else. It's just that he brought something on. By the time this album came around, he brought something unique, different, and how you get his full range, like his crooning on Easy and his aggression on Jizzlobber. Like those two extremes from him on the one listen are perfect. It sounds so weird to put those two songs like in the comparison point, but it's so important to take it in the full context. Around all that sort of stuff with Mike Patton going off, you've got all the little things in this one too, like there's samples. There's a lot of samples. Another label were freaking out about the amount of samples that go on there. But between Mike and those, this thing can feel like an evil little carny ride at times, and it's like it's just so much fun. It is so much fun to listen to. You've got exactly what you expect at the same time, though. It's not a complete departure or anything like that. You've got it's catchy, dark songs like Midlife Crisis, Everything's Ruined, Small Victory. Those ones, you could probably closely relate those to the real thing beforehand, with the other stuff getting further, off the rails later on. But the whole band have really leaned into sort of expanding and exploring what they can do as musicians and as a team together. There are some great composition and performances across the board on this album. RV, you mentioned it, but that puts me in mind of the underwater level in Mario Brothers. That the music, it's just the music. I heard that like it's fucking Mario Brothers. Like that's the underwater level in Mario Brothers. But that song, in a lot of ways, just sort of sums up how twisted things can get with the lyrics and story in that song. Like it's just so bizarre. It's just out there, like just the whole concept, and it's just. But again, like you said, everything fits. It shouldn't. This should not work the way it works, but it just fits so well. I enjoyed how the keyboards were used on this one too. It gives everything just a sort of. There's a bit of an arty edge to this one. It's a bit of an art rock kind of vibe going on, but at the same time, there's great grunt and rumble across the board. This thing still crushes to listen to. The way the keyboards are used gives the guitar and the bass more room to play with because they don't have to fill it sound wall. So the keys just get to fill things out, and they also add different accents here and there. But around that, the guitar and the bass really get to sort of shine and play a bit more on the periphery a bit, which is cool. You don't have to worry about having a rhythm section holding things down between the drums and the keys. You've got that, and then you've got the extra curricular activities from the stringed instruments, shall we say, along with Mike Patton on the vocals. It just adds so much to their sound. I think the mix was perfect for this style of music. They're not reliant on tricks. They've got the sample, it's fine, but studio trickery wasn't a big thing on this one. It was just it had some good tones, some good layering, good panning, that kind of stuff. It's really well executed. Even the parts where you think things have been pushed a little bit, it's been done by design to increase the impact of the placement on the album, kind of to give the dynamics of the journey in the listen. There's some great twists and turns on this one. Malpractice and Jizzlobber give you that psychotic edge from Mike Patton, more, in line with Mr. Bungle kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But each and every track has been placed perfectly on this listen to make it a completely engaging listen from start to finish. On this one, I personally lean, if you're going to pick your standouts, more to the melodic tracks, as favorites in the ebb and flow of things on this one, But I liked that the way that the heavy tracks and the softer tracks are spliced. You've got this big Jekyll and Hyde aspect of the whole listen, which is just riveting and fascinating and entertaining to listen to. Everything leaps out because of where it sits. Like every single track can, like you said, your top 5 can change from week to week to week. Listen to this one because of the track order, the placement, the work involved, the actual craft. But the way things, if you listen to this one from top to bottom, everything's going to be depending on your mood. It could be the simplest little thing. I like that song today. No, I like that song tomorrow. It'll just change all the time. And that's because of the way this thing's been put together. Has been so well executed. It's not funny. It just every song complements the other one, from the extreme stuff to the soft stuff. It's all complementary. I thought the use of funk and groove was a bit more, again, of a throwback kind of a thing. But that on Be Aggressive was really, really cool. I thought that was so well done. The gear shifts across the board are fantastic. Be Aggressive with the kids choir was just here's a little fucked up version of Pink Floyd for you. You know what I mean? It was just so cool. The pivot at the end to the two covers on this one, one being the instrumental with Midnight Cowboy and the other one being the iconic Easy. I thought that was a great way to wrap things up, actually. And it didn't feel like it was tacked on. I know that Easy was, but it doesn't feel like it. It actually fits and flows after Midnight Cowboy really, really well. This has something that will probably please and disturb almost everyone out there, which is so cool. It's so rare to find an album that'll do that. This is a genuine artist's album, that is still really accessible, and that's hard to pull off. They've done what they wanted. They did exactly what they wanted to do, and a lot of bands will alienate a fan base, especially after a successful album, by doing something like that. These guys have nailed it. It's incredibly hard to pull this off. There's a reason why you don't get many albums like this, how rare it is, how you said before, you've never heard anything like it, you probably never will again. It's one of those albums, it's a really big bookmark or placeholder in time. I said, this will have something that will disturb and please everyone out there at the same time. Like I said before, between Jizzlobber and Easy, those are your extremes. That's what you've got. That tells you all you need to know. I give this a 10 out of 10 as well. This is fucking fantastic to listen to. How can you not like this album?
No, exactly.
If you're going to pick standouts, I'm going to go with Midlife Crisis, Be Aggressive. Everything's Ruined is my top 3 this week. But again, next week, that could be entirely fucking different. So it is what it is. But this is a fantastic album. So if you haven't checked it out, unfuck that, Dave, and get into it. Here we go. Let's drag him back in here. Here we go, Dave. You've never listened to this album, have you?
No, I have heard some Faith No More. I'm really not a fan of the band at all. They don't do it for me. I don't like it.
This one. Try this one.
I don't know. You've mentioned Jizzlobber a few times. I can't listen to a song called Jizzlobber.
Says the guy who likes cannonballs up cunts.
Fucking cool.
This is a bit more artistic overall. But yeah, this is really cool. We got a lot of comments coming through on this one, which is nice. What do we got? Fuck, I'll go back a bit. Hang on. Let me go through. Sorry. Rowan says all-time favorite, 10 out of 10. There we go. Man, family, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yep, best album to date, something for everyone, which is nice. Oh, Nicole, sending myself to the naughty corner. Just a note for me. So, Dave, you're not alone. Tough says Tough says instant fave. My first album, even did a music video with mates falling to pieces. Nice, that's cool. Rowan says my only disappointment with this album is that Patton's production process on this album pissed off Jim Martin to the point that Martin left the band. Fair point. I'll pay that one. But he also says, no, I think Martin's guitar and how it combined with the synth really important to the sound of the band. It does really well work on this one too. Sally says, Easy was a great cover. The vocal on it's so cool to sing along with it, and that's the thing too. Darren says, this is one weird-ass fucking album, has Patton written all over it with Midlife Crisis, Jizzlobber, and Caffeine. Not for everyone, but it's fantastic. Dave, you commented saying nah. What do we got here? Jeff says the main rumor behind the reason Jim Martin left the band was because he wasn't a fan of the direction Angel Dust went in with focus on vocals over guitars. Personally, I don't get that. I love it. I agree. I like the direction they took on it. It's a risk, but hey, there we go. Rowan says Andrew often jokes about how different these songs can be that are talked about back to back on the show. With Easy and Jizzlobber, you have that contrast in one album, and that's the truth of this one here too. So There we go. At Jeff, Rowan says, I'd always heard it was due to Patton asking to redo his guitar parts with Patton taking over creative control of the album. Either way, the results were great, so it's sad he left. That's a fair point too. Still got more here. What have we got? Rowan says, I've never heard anything like the real thing either. And back and forth, not sure. He may be right. Vinny, good to see you. He's gone, this whole album was a mood for me as a Gen X. I didn't know what was meant after growing up with rock, glam, thrash, etc. Then the grunge began, which didn't really grab me. But this album cut through that uncertainty and kind of sent me again, but on a different plane. That's actually a good point. The timing of this album, really important. Interesting comment here. Sally says Mike is probably the only singer I would compare to Lane Staley. Not that they were singing in similar ways, but they use the tones and pitch patterns in their vocal to their advantage and pull the whole thing together seamlessly. Killer talent and control. Have to know your voice very well so that by the end of the song, your ear isn't sick of the unusual tone. Sorry, ranting. No, that's a good point, actually. The use of vocal as a talent. We've seen Mike Patton over the years really branch into doing those things, like just the vocal shows and things like that he's done over that are reminiscent of Yoko Ono in some respects. He's weird yelling and carrying on shows, but I'm not quite a big fan of those. But the Mr. Bungle stuff is like he's a very interesting character, and I like how it's a shame that Martin left the band, but at the same time I liked on this album how you got everyone's personality. Like you felt the personality of every member of the band on this album. That's what I thought. About you, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is a standout. Way there's so much going on in this album, they all get to contribute and play their part and have their highlights in this album, which is what makes it so unique.
Yeah, hard to do well, but they managed to knock it out of the park. So there we go, a lot of love for it, and that's where we sort of end up wrapping up proceedings here tonight. But it's been a lot of fun. So we'll do a quick little bit of a shout out and some thank yous and all sort of stuff, and we'll get into the usual details, and then we'll go to a bin in just a minute. So as always, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all the usual things. Details for that are in the description box. So do that. And if you can hit a like on this video or leave a comment whenever you check it out. Or if you're listening on podcast later on, then whenever you're tuning in, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you taking the time, be it here live tonight or later on. Give us your thoughts. Your comments are always welcome. We'll try and get to them when we can. But yeah, our details are in the description box. So just find us on your preferred social and go nuts. A big thank you to TC, who's here with us tonight, but Sonia, Lee, Belle, who's also in the comments tonight, Conrad, Jason, Brendan, 679, Marty, Sam, Trash, Carolyn, Gwyneth, Andrew, Daniel, and Man Family in the comments as well. Thank you so much for your support and Patreon. If you want to help us out, check out our Patreon page for more information on just how to do that as well. Every little bit counts. So yeah, helps us out a lot. What do we got? We got a lot of stuff going on. We got to sit down and do Ahmed Saint Part 2, you and I. You guys know we've got to find a time to. We sort of lock it down, and then something goes fucking wrong. It's fucking just bizarre at the moment. But that's right.
We'll quit the damn day jobs.
Sorry.
We got to quit the damn day jobs.
Yeah, Patreon, folks. It'll help us get there. The more we can do, the closer we get to that goal. Then what we got? Then after that, we're going to do Beatles versus Stones. And then after that, we're going to do like a King of the Riff format, which is on albums of the last decade. And then we got other things coming up this year, like Wasp's discography and all that kind of stuff too. That's definitely on the cards. I think October will be Misfits, Danzig kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on this year, heaps and heaps and heaps. So make sure you check us out on TV as well. So 10:30 p.m. So about 10 minutes, or maybe longer actually. Adelaide a half hour behind us, but 10:30 p.m. local time on Channel 44 Adelaide Thursday nights, and then 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne. You can watch us via ctvplus.org.au as well as on the TV screens on those channels in those cities. What else have we got? I think that's about it normally. We've just got shitloads going on. We're back again next week as always with another stream. The local band, or the Aussie band I should say, we're going to be covering on next week's release is the latest from Acolyte, their EP, which is nice. I'm pretty sure Dave's checked that out already, knowing him. Have you checked it out, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Straight onto that one. So Resilience, I believe, is what it's called from memory. So that's already out now if you want to check it out. But we update our current listening playlist most Fridays. So yeah, get onto that one and check that out and everything else in between. I don't know what's going on. TV, tonight's episode is part 2 of our cameo stuff that we did last week on Channel 44. Channel 31 Saturday night that's our early Bon Jovi stuff. That was the first 5 albums of Bon Jovi that we did a couple of weeks back. So we've got that coming up on Saturday night in Melbourne. That's about it. Just follow us. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on. It might be on the day, but, we'll get there in the end. But there's heaps going on as always. But for now, it's time to start wrapping things up. So thank you all for joining us. We'll go to now our favourite part of proceedings, which is the bin. Tim, you're in the corner. Let's get you to go first.
I'll make it short and sharp. The Reserve Bank can get in the bin, and they can fill it with petrol and blow the fucking thing up.
Yes.
That's what they can go in the bin.
I agree.
Look, cost of living has gone through the roof, and they're now putting rates up every fucking month. No, piss off. Bullshit. I've had enough.
Yeah, no, it's pretty hard out there. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. It's Yeah, it's nasty. It's got some bite at the moment. I do sympathise with that greatly. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I completely agree with Tim. I'm going to do that as well. But yeah, I got a few things. I'm trying to figure out which one to go with. But I think I will go with a bolt fell out of the caliper of my brakes of my car while I was driving. This massive grinding noise, just fucking, it's horrible. So that bolt can get in the fucking bin. It should get back in my fucking car, but it can go in the bin because I had to get a new one. And it costs a lot of money to get people out to fix it. But yeah, shit falling off your car that's not supposed to fall off, that can go in the bin. Never a good thing.
No, that's dangerous. I'm glad that actually didn't go as bad as it could for you. That was telling me about that earlier on. So I'm glad everyone got out of that okay. But that can go in the bin. I agree with Tim as well. What's going on at the moment with the cost of living, and don't forget too, we've got the petrol excise is going to come back on in September.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty much going to buy a bike and ride to work.
Yeah.
I just have to find ways to save money. There's no alternative. I fucking hate cyclists, and I'm going to become one of them.
Just don't wear Lycra, Dave. You'll be okay.
No.
Do what Bobby does on Stranger Things when he rode the bike, he had the battle jacket on and the bandana. Do that.
Yeah. I'll just pretend there's fucking bats coming for me. A little more time.
Have you seen the last season yet, Tim?
I haven't seen any season yet. So I need to fix that. I do need to fix that.
It's going to enjoy it, mate.
I'm going to be the most excited guy going to work in the mornings when I'm doing
that. Just have, Mars Trumpets banging in the headphones while you're riding to work. All right, my bin, short and to the point. If he's not already, Boris Johnson. In you fucking go.
Yep.
Fucking drop kick. Yeah, how's that for a fucking comeuppance? Fuck off. Drop kick. Absolute drop kick. About time. So I'm pretty sure he's already in there, courtesy of the British Parliament. But if he's not, he'll be in there soon enough. So that's just my one for tonight. Nice and to the point there. Got some comments, which is nice. Darren says, cheers, guys. Great show. You're most welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, I'm glad you've enjoyed it tonight. Tough says, all banks in the bin, then burn that motherfucker down. Then maybe used to get my house warm. Good point there. So, Vinny says, curious in the bin. You can be a champion without being a disrespectful dick. Advantage Nadal. Well, there we go. There's some comments there. Rowan, viral evolution in the bin. That's something that's not being talked about. That's interesting. We'll see how that plays out over the next sort of coming weeks. Vinny says, Dave at the cafe in Lycra. So if you do
not
that,
going to happen.
Hey, Dave, that can be a Halloween outfit.
I couldn't even do it for a joke, man. I'm never wearing Lycra. It's one of those things. Fuck that. No, it's like a bike doesn't work unless the guy's wearing Lycra. It's just not a good look. Jesus Christ.
Here we go. Sally's gone in the bin. Freezing cold toilet seats makes everything seize up. Not good. Too much information, but no.
What could possibly seize up?
Well, I don't know. Yes. But yeah, cold toilet seats are a bad experience.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not fun at all. Got some comments, which is cool. Tough also says, bin heavy metal shops that have shit posters and music you can't find. That's not on there as well. Nicole says, American gun laws in the bin. Definitely, or the lack thereof. Jeff says, going to need a bigger bin for that, which is true as well. Nicole says, thanks all for a great night. You're most welcome. Thank you for joining us to get involved in the comments. Vinny says, sipping a latte with his little finger up.
I don't know if I can hook the fucking cup like that.
To which Darren said, don't forget your parrot, Dave.
I'm going to kill a parrot so I can have it on my shoulder.
Yeah, that's it.
Doesn't have to be living.
Yeah. And here we go. We've got the women sort of telling us. So Sally says the whiz goes away when the cold toilet seat. And Nicole's backed it up saying it's a girl thing with toilet seats. There we go. For what it's worth, sympathies.
I just learned something. Fucking wow.
Ask Julia about it. Go on. That'll be. I want to hear the response to that question.
Yeah, how am I going to approach that conversation? So, by the way, baby, when you sit down on the toilet, do things seize up? I'm already in enough trouble. The other day during tea, okay, I'm having a conversation with my son, Roy. I told him when he grows up, he's going to get hair on his testicles. And he's like laughing his head off. And Jay's like, oh my God. And Julia's like, Dave, not at the dinner table. So I got to pick my moments for these things.
Well, he's not using them for floss, so what's the problem?
Exactly. It just came up. And, when these things, I don't know how it came up, but I should let you know. When you become a man, you get hair on your chin, under your arms, on your legs, and on your balls. I use testicles because, he's young.
Classy, Dave.
Yeah. I'm all class. I'm just concerned about the things he's going to be talking about at school. He listens to Hellstorm.
Yeah, well, that'll be. Sorry, between what you said and the comments that are coming through, oh my god, oh wow. Sorry, in response to the girl thing on the toilet seat, Tough has gone give her a spatula to help her get off.
No, the spatula gets used somewhere else.
No, okay. Anyway, I don't need another one. But Jeff's gone, how is that parrot going to fit on Dave's shoulder? Here's another one too. He's gone, try pissing as a bloke with a busted toilet seat that won't stay up. That post-dribble becomes a real issue.
Try pissing as a bloke in the morning. No.
And here's, Dave, here's for you. Hey, Julia, Andrew wanted me to ask. There we go.
Yes, that worked. That way you get the blame and I don't.
I know. That's okay.
Sorry, baby. During the Hard Rock show last night, Andrew was just wondering. I thought you guys only spoke about music. Well, now we're talking about your urinary problems.
Oh my god! Here on the Hard Rock Show, covering all the important issues in life. Back onto the parrot on Dave's shoulder. Just on Dave has to remove the chip first to fit the parrot. So there we go. All right. I think that'll about do us. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been an absolute blast. We will see you all again very, very soon. Same time and place next week as always, but we'll all be all around doing stuff anyway. So keep following us, keep up to date, and thank you all once again for a fantastic night, and thank you to both of you for jumping in. But yeah, we'll see you all again very, very soon. Until next time, though, I'm Andrew.
I'm Tim.
I'm Dave.
As always,
drink up
and rock on. We did it.